All right. Let's get going. You guys all set over there? All right. Good evening. Welcome to this evening's May 7th, 2018 Public Council meeting. A roll call, please.
Councilman Camburis?
Here.
Councilwoman Peterson? Here. Councilman Vargo?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Here.
Mayor Tinella?
Here. Please rise for a flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting was duly provided to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and the Star Ledger by email and published in an annual schedule of meetings dated December 28, 2017, and respectfully filed with the Township Clerk and posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building lobby in accordance with the Open Publics Meeting Act. Item 2, extraordinary business of the Township Council, a presentation of a proclamation for Youth Week, Elks Club. Okay, here.
There should be somebody in the...
I think Mr. DiMattia, you want to come on up here, please? We have Vince DiMattia from the Elks Club, correct?
Yes, Cedar Grove Elks.
Yep. So you want to stand over here? So I'll present you with this proclamation on behalf of the township. Whereas the Benevolent Protective Order of the Elks has designated May 14th through May 18th as Youth Week to honor America's junior citizens for their accomplishments and to give fitting recognition of their services to community, state, and nation. And whereas Cedar Grove Elks BPOE number 2237 will sponsor an observance during that week in tribute to junior citizens of this community. And whereas no event could be more deserving of our support and participation than one dedicated to these young people who represent the nation's greatest resource and who in the years ahead will assume the responsibility for the advancement of our free society. And whereas our youth need the guidance, inspiration, and encouragement which we alone can give in order to help develop those qualities of character essential for future leadership and go forth to serve America. And whereas to achieve this worthy objective, we should demonstrate in partnership with youth our understanding of their hopes and aspirations and a sincere willingness to help prepare them in every way for the responsibilities and opportunities of citizenship. Now, therefore, I, Peter Tinella, Mayor of the Township of Cedar Grove, Essex County, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim the third week in May as Youth Week and urge all departments of government, civic, fraternal, and patriotic groups, and our citizens generally to participate wholeheartedly in its observance. All right? Thank you very much. If you want to say a few words or no words? Okay. Thank you for coming down. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Moving on, item 3A, approval of minutes. A, to consider approval of minutes of regular public meeting, April 2nd, 2018. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? A roll call, please.
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Vargo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes. Item 4, public hearing. To consider introduction of pending ordinance 18824, amending Chapter 205 of the Township Code entitled Recreation Areas Use Of. I'm going to open up the meeting
Mayor,
to...
before that, can
Yeah.
I just give a recap? to the
Sure,
public
Mr. Tucci.
and
Thank
this
you.
way, then you could open up to the public. As the council's aware and the public, we introduced our budget on March 19th, 2018, at a special public meeting. Our budget reflected an appropriation of $15,237,534. As part of the budget process, after it was introduced, it was sent down to the state of New Jersey for the Bureau of Local Finance for their review. You see behind your budget sheets, you'll see an email from Cavell Gallimore from the state of New Jersey, and basically the email says, as for your budget, the Township of Cedar Grove may proceed with the adoption, meaning that they have signed off on it. With that, we are prepared tonight for council's consideration for adoption of this budget. Our net valuable taxables stand the same as they were when I reported back in March at $2,227,463,200. The estimated local tax rate is projected at .495 cents. That is just a slight increase. The average assessment is up a little bit. It's $467,100, up from $465,000. All total, the local rate will be about $2,227.46 based on the average assessment that I just read off, that $467,100 figure. And that equates to, locally, an increase of $61.55. So that's what we're looking at this evening for council's consideration.
Mayor, if I may, before we
Yes.
consider the ordinances related to the budget, we do need to consider 4A, amending Chapter 205 of the Township Code regarding recreation areas.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Zelinski. Do you want to, does anybody want to comment on what Mr. Tucci just said?
Mr. Mayor,
Sure.
I would like to, Mr. Tucci, I just want to commend you and everybody in the township for keeping that budget so tight. I mean, to go through those budget meetings, line by line by line, and to have everybody from each department come through, really, really helps us. And really helps us make an informed decision as to how to go forward. So I want to commend you and the entire staff of the township. So, thank you.
Councilman, thank you for your kind words, but I can only relay them to the men and women of the various departments that
Yeah.
put this all together, all the hard work they do during the year. The credit goes to them also.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Tucci, and I concur, obviously, with the councilman. I mean, I've been doing this for a number of years. I know for Councilman Vargo and Councilwoman Peterson, it was their first budget season for them, and they got a chance to flip the pages with us, and you get to see line by line what we're looking at, and in many cases, if not most, each department held the line on expenses or they asked for a reduction. I think the only time you really see an increase is, as it is every year, is our healthcare increases and pension contributions, which we have little to no control over. Mr. Tucci, I wanted to ask if you know, do you know as we sit here tonight where we compare? I guess it's maybe too early to other towns in Essex County.
It's a little early
Yeah.
to have all the exact figures. I don't know who has adopted their budgets yet.
Right.
But normally, we're either one or two.
Right.
We've been that way probably for the last 6 years.
One or two, and the lowest.
The lowest
Right.
in the county.
Right.
But hopefully that we did a good enough job to be number one again. We don't like to be number two.
Thanks again, Mr. Tucci. Does anybody else on the council have any comment?
Again, I just want to
Yeah.
highlight, on the average $467,000 house, the average tax is about $10,800. What this municipal government, what this governing body runs the government on is $2,227 out of that $10,008. So when you see your tax bill and you see the $10,800 figure, that money doesn't come all here. The only thing that comes here is $2,227, and that's what your governments run on, your DPW, your police department, and all the services.
Garbage.
I can't highlight that enough.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Tucci. Okay, with that said, I'm going to jump back up to item 4A. I'm just going to open up the meeting to the public on 4A and 4A only. Does anybody have any comment with regard to 4A on the agenda? Seeing none, I close that portion of the meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Well, here. Joe, we've got it here.
Second.
Yep, hold on a second. Let me
I move, Mayor, I move for the adoption of pending ordinance number 18-824 to be published in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a passed ordinance to take effect as prescribed by law.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Mayor, just a comment.
Yes.
I think, just for the public, I don't know if we read exactly what the ordinance is. This is an ordinance putting further restrictions on the swimming down at Devil's Hole. What it does is gives the police department a little bit of more teeth to actively keep people out of there and keep people safe. The purpose for the ordinance is to keep people safe, not to restrict them from swimming there, just so that they don't get hurt themselves, which, they could get hurt if they don't do it correctly. So that's the purpose for.
Hey, thank you for the clarification, Mr. Tucci. Appreciate that. Great. Any other comment on this item? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Borgo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes, now we'll go to item 4B to consider adoption of the 2018 municipal budget. Just trying to look here.
Be it resolved by the mayor and council that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute the appropriations for the purposes stated herein.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Open the public hearing.
You'll
Open
the
to public, right. Thank you, Mr. Zelinski. I open the meeting up to the public on item 4B and 4B only. Seeing none, I close that portion of the meeting. We have a motion, we have a second. I know we just had some discussion, and is there any other further discussion? No? Is there a roll call, please?
Who made the motion in the second? I'm sorry.
Harry.
Councilman Cabarrus.
Motion second.
Okay,
Thank you, Councilman.
I didn't quite. Sorry.
So motion second, roll call, please.
Okay. Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Borgo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes. Item 4C, to consider adoption of the 2018 solid waste district collection budget.
Be it resolved by the mayor and council that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount of $1,630,464.
And before I open the meeting up to the public, Mr. Tucci, you just want to
Just
comment?
to report on that particular budget.
Right.
The tax rate on garbage collection stayed exactly the same as last year. No increase.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Tucci. I'm going to open up the meeting to the public on this item and this item only. Is there any comment? Seeing none, I close that portion of the meeting. Is there any comment from the council? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Vargo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes. Item 5, the meeting is open to residents of the township wishing to be heard on any item on the agenda. And this is for some of the new people in the audience. We're going to have a second public meeting, a public session for any item. This is only for items that are on the agenda. Does anybody have any comment? Okay, I'll close that portion of the meeting. Let's move on to township reports. Mr. Tucci?
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Please excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather with allergies, so excuse my voice.
Understood.
First item that I have for this evening, in the packet, I believe there's a memo from our township engineer regarding award of contract. Get to it 1 second. Yeah, it's dated April 23rd, 2018. It's a recommendation of award for design services for the rehabilitation of the VFW water tank, which is up on the top of Irene Drive. We've had a series of water tanks rehab. We had the one on Club Way done previously, and we're going through one by one. This is where the storage of our potable water is. We gotta make sure that it's pure for our residents. So what'll happen is that'll be drained out, taken out of service. The inside will be all scraped down, it'll be disinfected, and it'll be repainted and then refilled back up. That's what this project, but this is only the recommendation for the design services, not for the actual.
Right. You need a motion from the council for this, Mr. Zelinski?
Just
Authorization?
authorization to let me do it for the next meeting.
Okay.
The resolution.
Any objection from the council? None?
No
Okay.
objection.
Authorization, Mr. Tucci.
Okay, moving right along. All right. You'll see in the packet just something informational. I went to our last JIF meeting, and our joint insurance fund attorney gave out a newspaper article regarding social media and Oprah requests. You'll see, I think it just reinforces that, just be on your toes when you put stuff on social media, because there are a lot of people out there that you could say something innocently, and it gets turned around and made something that's very serious. So that's just for public information. Also, at that seminar, the seminar was basically on our LUPA cases, which are church cases brought against municipalities. It's not only churches, temples, mosques, so on and so forth, anything religious. And the standards are totally different than what we're used to at a zoning board. Zoning board standards do not apply in our LUPA cases. As a matter of fact, we're going to have our JIF attorneys come in for the governing body and the planning and zoning board, and they're going to give a seminar and explain to you what the criteria is and how it's so much different. Because I think that's what's happening in a lot of communities. The communities don't understand the federal law, and we're applying zoning standards, and that's why towns are ending up in trouble sometimes. In our case, it was a lot less benign because, you know, we've had this institution here for many years, and it's just a matter of we didn't agree on size. But just wanted to put that information, you could peruse it a little bit.
Right.
But again, I'm going to be arranging a seminar for the governing body, zoning and planning boards, so that we can get more informed on this. The more informed we are, the better off we are for the public. Also, there are 2 requests for block parties. One is from the residents on Young Avenue. They'd like to have it on Saturday, September 15th, with a rain day of Sunday, September 16th. This is ordinary requests. The council has no objection. We will process that,
Right.
and I will send it off to all our emergency services.
What's the council's pleasure on that? Any objection?
No objection.
No objection?
And then we
Okay.
have a second request for a block party on Hilltop Drive. Again, they do that every year, and they're looking to do it on June 16th, starting at 3 p.m. Does anybody have any objection to the residents there having a block party?
I don't see an objection. Nope.
Additionally, this evening, I put on the table our roadway inventory that was updated recently. That is the Bible as far as how we pick and choose streets to be repaved. You'll see top on the list is Bowden Road, which is scheduled to be done #1, and then we have 4 other streets besides that will be completed. We'll also be making a NJDOT application. We normally pick out one collector road close to the schools because we try to improve the roadways that lead to and from the schools. In particular, those roadways need to be in good condition because we need to get the school children, especially in inclement weather. And if the road's not in good shape, it creates a problem. So that's just for informational purposes. Take it home, look at it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer it, or I'll have our township engineer speak to you.
Mr. Tucci, I'm just flipping, so Bowden Road, that's next on the agenda for
Right.
a complete road over,
No,
for what?
That's a mill and overlay.
Mill and overlay.
That if you look on the bottom, you'll see grants. We got a grant for that mill and overlay of $240,000 from NJDOT. Now, it's gonna cost more than that. I think we supplemented with another $150,000 last year. So that road's gonna cost probably about $390,000 to do it in its entirety.
And the time frame on this one is, this is 29, this is
This is 2018.
2018?
Hopefully, this job will be in the ground probably by August or September.
Okay.
The only thing that's holding us up on a lot of our projects, and we're running into this on Cedar Street, is public services. We notify them 1 year in advance of all the streets we anticipate doing. Now they came back and said they need to replace the water main on the gas main on Cedar Street. So now that's gonna hold us off, hold the contractor off, and we're having the same problem on Bowden Road. If you see on Bowden Road, there's probably 20 patches from Pompton Avenue down to Daniel. They have a gas leak and they can't seem to find it. Rather than replace the whole thing, they do hit or miss. But that will be the only thing that would hold us up from redoing that by August or September.
And then when you go into, so I'm looking at like Grissing and Cedar, and looking at the comments here, Bradford, even going back to Harper, what's the stat?
Harper Terrace is NJDOT grant we just got. That's in the process. Grissing Court, see, there's 2 programs. There's Total Reconstruct.
Right.
There's Mill and Overlay.
Okay,
Mill and Overlay, we're probably going to be doing Grissing Court, Robin Lane, and the other 2 escape me off the top of my head. Excuse me. But there's 4 streets on the Mill and Overlay. Besides the NJDOT projects, will be Harper Terrace, Bowden Road, Cedar Street. So we have a lot of projects going on right now.
so Harper, Cedar, and Bowden are going to be the overlay with the grant. That's going to all happen in 2018?
2018, that's
Oh,
the
that's
plan.
great.
And again, the only thing that'll hold it up is public service doing the
Right.
gas work.
Good. Okay, good.
Which leads me to this, well, that leads me into something else. If anybody has any questions about that, I don't want to mix things up.
No, I didn't mean to
Also on the
disagree.
table this evening, I put the proposed 2018 capital improvement budget before you. It's basically the same thing that was in your budget book. The only 3 items that were added to it were the DPW chipper, because you saw we had that bad storm, we only have 1 chipper. We're looking to get something a little bigger in the event that we have storms in the future. Morgan's Farm, we have 4 signs up there that need to be refurbished and replaced. That's, I'm putting in the budget. And in Community Park, our bocce league has exploded. I think we have 22 or 24 teams. We have 2 bocce courts. Sometimes these teams don't play, they don't play every week, they play every 2 weeks. So what we were looking at is possibly putting 2 more bocce courts in that center island up at the park, and I put $20,000 in for that.
That's great,
So
yeah.
if the council is okay with this list, I would like to start the process to do a bonding ordinance so we can get these projects started for 2018.
Well, what's the council's pleasure? Any comment?
No objection.
No objection.
If not, I will have the bonding ordinance on for the next meeting for introduction, and then we'll have the normal process.
Okay.
Hearing and introduction.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
And I have one item for confidential. It's regarding non-represented employee salaries, and that's my report for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci.
Mr. Tucci, the playground at Community Park, when are they going to start working on that?
I mean, the upper
playground.
playground, we're waiting for a response on the grant. We put grant money in for that. That's through Community Development Block Grant, because that's barrier-free. It's going to be total barrier-free playground. Normally, we don't get notified from them until like July of the year.
Is that something that will get done this year?
We're
though?
trying to get it done,
Mhm.
because we want to take down all those old rotted logs that are around
Right.
the fall zones. It's getting a little unsafe, and we want to make sure that it's cleared out up there. But that is on the radar. If the grant doesn't come through, I may come back here and ask you to authorize us to bond a little bit more money, but hopefully, I think we normally get about $65,000, $70,000. I'm hopeful that we'll get that job done.
Thank you.
All right, moving on the agenda, Ms. Stutz, any report?
report.
No report, look at you, all right. Mr. Zelinski?
No reports.
No report, all right. Let's go through the council. Want to start, Councilman Cabarrus, you want to start off?
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor. Back in November, a resident of Huntington County was shearing some of their sheep, and they found one of the sheep was covered with this particular type of tick. It's Asian tick, also called longhorn tick. The fishing game went in and treated the sheep and cut the grass and treated the surrounding area. They were expecting that this invasive tick was eradicated, but in the spring it was found in Union County in the Watchung Mountains. This tick is self-cloning, does not need a partner to mate. It carries some diseases, not Lyme disease. I'm just making you aware of it, that Environmental Commission is going to be monitoring this as much as possible, and Mr. Tucci's aware of it. I don't know if you want to make a comment about this.
Well, I would like it to be forwarded to Councilwoman Peterson's Health Committee, for them to take a look at it through Montclair Health Department. Maybe they can go back and get us a little more information and discuss it at their level. This way, on both ends, we can both work and bring it back to the
We have
council
the
for the residents.
environmental concern and then the health concern.
You okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you,
I'll
Councilman.
give it to
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
No, that's
Okay,
it.
thank you. Councilman Vargo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple comments. The first comment is we have our first Cedar de Mayo event on the 12th. So this Saturday from 4 to 8. This is part of the Downtown Advisory Committee and our efforts to try to revitalize our downtown and bring some excitement down there. The Cedar de Mayo event will have about 5 or 6 food trucks. So there's a grilled cheese food truck, there's a taco truck, there's a guacamole truck, ice cream truck, and a couple others that will bring some excitement, at least on the food side. We have a mariachi band coming to play. We have a DJ. We have the YMCA coming to bring some games for the kids. And we have a beer and wine tent. Associated with the beer and wine tent, I have to give a very special thank you to Unico, who partnered with the Downtown Advisory Committee. And Unico is so kindly bringing us the beer and wine tent for us there. So we're really excited about it. The artwork that you see on Pompton Ave right now, lining the street, all of that will be auctioned off. So I believe the auction will start from 4:30 and go till about 7:30. So we encourage you to come down if you like a piece of artwork that's on Pompton Ave. I know that there are a couple pieces of art that are going to have several bidders. So a portion of that comes back to the Downtown Advisory Committee, and a portion of that goes to the artists. So that's a really, really exciting opportunity. It's a great event. Thank you to Mr. Tucci for helping coordinate. We've had several things to coordinate. Being that these are all firsts for us. The Downtown Advisory Committee, the art walk, the Cedar de Mayo event. It's a learning process, but next year it'll be much smoother. We'll know all the steps to take. So I appreciate everybody, Mr. Tucci, Ms. Stutz, for your patience with my dozens and dozens of questions. So we have that coming up.
Councilman Vargo,
Yeah.
not to interrupt you,
Go ahead,
is
please.
there a rain date for Saturday? I don't see rain in the forecast. What are you guys thinking
It's the
for?
following Saturday.
Following Saturday?
Yeah, the
Okay.
following Saturday is the rain date.
Okay, good.
So, knock on wood.
Right.
We won't have any rain,
Yeah.
but the weather looks good for now.
Yeah,
And to be honest with you, we have a lot of excitement around it. A lot of excitement around the downtown area now. And believe it or not, it's actually working because businesses are starting to reach out to the committee to see what else is going on in the downtown area, sparking some excitement and hopefully bringing some commerce down to the downtown area.
Good stuff.
So I did the thank you to Unico, because without them, we wouldn't have had they're hosting the beer and the wine tent. And then continuing on the downtown area, so the artwork will be coming down tomorrow. And we have replacement banners that will be going up in their place. So the replacement banners are going to be just to define our downtown area. You've all seen a sketch of it. So when we have the John Verona from, I forget what company.
Verona Electric.
Verona Electric. So he'll be coming tomorrow morning. He'll be taking down all of the artwork so we can auction it off and putting on the new banners and flipping it, so you'll actually have a feel like you're coming into the downtown area. This was done in response to a lot of questions that we got when we started the committee, which was, where is our downtown area? So we're going to continue to define that downtown area so that way that question is no longer a question. Everybody knows where it is because of what we're doing down there. So that's all I have on the downtown area. Mr. Tucci, Cedar Street, I went up. The curbs look fantastic. I know a lot of the residents were pretty excited about the curbs coming all the way down Cedar Street. So I just wanted to comment on that. It looks fantastic.
Like I reported, the only little bit of disappointment is it's going to take a little bit longer to get the street paved because
Sure.
public service has to come in.
Yep.
But in the meantime, we're having them finish up the areas behind the curb, filling with topsoil, seed, restoring the driveways as much as they could, and just make it livable until they get back. But hopefully, by July, hopefully this will be done.
Yeah, I remember a year ago, I was on that street quite a bit, walking up and down there. And, you could see the dips from the water kind of running off. Now with it raised, I actually took a drive by,
It's really
stopped by a
defined.
couple of the residents over there, see how they liked it. And they're pretty excited about it. So thank you for doing that.
Mayor, if I just might
Sure,
think
Mr.
about
Tucci.
one thing on my report, and
Sure.
I'd be remiss. We have a resignation letter from Andy Steinfeld, who's been on our CATV committee. And I just want to say that we're really going to miss Andy. Andy was one of these guys that stepped up when we were really low and didn't have a lot of people on the committee. And he did a great job for us. Fortunately, it's bittersweet. He went into a business venture, and it's being very successful right now. So I'm happy for him there, but I'm sorry to lose him. But not only is he a great CATV member, he's a great person personally. So I just want to extend congratulations to him on his business venture and wish him the best of luck and thank him for all his service.
thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Tucci. Yeah, I agree. Andy's been great for the township, and as we always say, you'll lose a volunteer like Andy. Our township is basically run by our volunteers, and he's going to be big shoes to replace with him. So I wish him well. Councilman Varga, you have anything other comment?
That's all.
So
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. I just have, I don't have a comment so much of a question. I know, Ms. Hartwick, you're in the audience tonight. I don't know if you're going to give a report. Piggybacking over Councilman Vargo, with regard, we have a lot of excitement with the downtown going on. New committee, our revised committee, a lot of excitement. The overpass that comes into the center of town, when you come into the center of town, it's owned by the county there, and we have a lot of signage on that overpass. And I don't know if you could find out, and I haven't really spoken to the council members, if there's any interest by the council, the county executive if we could put some type of digital sign on that overpass. I've seen it in other towns, in other areas. I know I spoke to Councilman Vargo about it briefly at one point. You can have if possible, I know it's a state highway it goes under, but it would start with the county executive, if he's even open to the suggestion of some type of digital signage up there. We can remove all the signs up there and have it scroll periodically with some of our local organizations who are having events, as well as the county events that go on. It would look a lot cleaner than having we try to, any organization that comes forward, we try to give them space up there. But I know, even it's hard for me when I go by there, you're seeing them, some of the signs are smaller than other ones. And this would look clean if we had a digital sign up there, it would pop as you come into the center of our town, as we're trying to, really revitalize it. So I would just ask, maybe it's something you could bring to him, and then if it's maybe he's interested in possibly exploring it, we could talk about, the cost involved, and maybe there's ways to get organizations or something to come forward. But I just wanted to throw that out to you, if you can maybe look into that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mayor, would that be,
Yeah.
were you thinking about coming into town or going out of town, or both sides?
Well, I guess it would, and again, I thought more coming into town there, that's where you're entering our business district there. But I mean, it was just an idea.
And Mr. Mayor, when former Deputy Mayor Mike Pafucci was on the council, we had presented to the freeholders, to the Essex County freeholders, to paint the side walls,
Right.
if you recall.
Yes.
So we do have that approval, and you've seen some of the preliminary sketches. So the goal, I like your idea, the goal would be, that is the gateway
Right.
to the downtown area. So that's the main entrance. So once we have that painted, which it may be an 18 event,
Right.
depending on our downtown advisory committee budget, could be an 18 or a 19. But with that, I mean, it would just
Yeah. It's all part of the
it'd be a
revitalization.
beautiful entrance to the downtown area.
Right. So, yeah. Deputy Mayor, any report?
The planning board met on Tuesday, and just to keep the council abreast of what's going on, the attorneys for the Hovnanian project were there with regard to the firehouse. The firehouse plans were presented. There was testimony by the planner and the architect, and the planning board accepted the firehouse plans as they were drawn. They approved them. And that's the last step. So I think the next step is, and I don't know when this is going to happen,
Right.
but they're set to go and build.
Mr. Tucci, do you have a timeline on
Just
getting?
waiting for the attorneys, their attorney to send over the transfer of property papers. DOT will not approve any DOT applications until the property's in the township's hands. And because it's two separate properties, they have to be consolidated in township ownership.
Okay,
Once that happens, it's a go.
great. Anything else,
Nothing
Deputy Mayor?
further,
Councilwoman Peterson? Good
Mayor.
evening.
I
Good to see
don't have a
you.
report.
No report? That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's
Got
okay.
nothing.
All right, that's good. All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. Item 7 yes, Ms. Stutz.
I just need to interrupt. I
Sure.
just noticed there is a typo on the first item on the consent agenda. The name of the appointee is not Nicholas Gregory. That's who resigned. The name of the appointee is John Borghese. I apologize for the error.
Yes, I did see that. Thank you. Thank you for that correction, Mrs. Stutz. So with that, to item 7A, to consider a resolution concerning appointment of planning board member.
Be it resolved that John Borghese is hereby appointed as a member of the planning board to fill an unexpired term effective immediately and terminating December 31st, 2021.
Great. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion?
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? A roll call, please.
Councilman Camburas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Vargo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes. Item 7.8, to consider a resolution concerning approval of raffle application for Cedar Grove High School Lacrosse Club.
Be it resolved that said application is hereby approved.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any comment? Roll call, please.
Councilman Camburas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Vargo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes. Mr. Zelinski, it's my understanding, I believe we had talked about pulling the items under 8. So all the 8's going to, all new business is going to be pulled, so.
That's correct.
All right, okay, so we're pulling 8, So we're going to just jump right to item 9 under
Bills.
approval of bills.
Correct.
Okay.
Be it resolved that the summary of bills having been duly audited and found correct are hereby ordered paid in the amount of $3,582,859.42.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Just one note.
Yes, Mr. Tucci.
$3 million of that is the township's county taxes that we send over.
Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Tucci. Any other comment? Roll call, please.
Councilman Camburos?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Vargo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes. The meeting is now open to residents of the township wishing to be heard on any item on or off the agenda concerning township business. Ms. Hartwick, good evening again.
evening.
Yes.
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for coming down.
Many residents may have already received this mailer. It is highlighting 2018 spring events sponsored by Essex County. I did bring a stack and leave them in the first floor here at Town Hall for those who want to pick them up. Coming up this month, we have Computer and Electronics Recycling Day on Saturday, May 19th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Fairview Avenue next to the old hospital center right here in Cedar Grove. There's a list of items accepted and those that are not accepted available on the ecuanj.com website, or you can call 973-792-9060 and they can go over if you have any questions about a specific item. And then there are some fun events coming up. We have a plant sale on Saturday, May 12th at the Environmental Center in Roseland, and a number of fishing derbies coming up throughout our park system. Coming up in the month of May are Verona Park on Thursday, May 17th, and on Thursday, May 24th, Weequahic Park. And then on Saturday, May 19th, we'll have the annual Family Garden Party at the Presby Iris Gardens, which is located in Upper Montclair. And all of these events are available on the website, essexcountynj.org.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr.
Councilman.
Mayor, Ms. Harwick, I'm going to follow up on the crosswalk on Bradford. I don't recall if it's in our court to get back or what the status is, but I figured while you're here.
I'm going to defer to
Right.
Mr.
Okay.
Tucci.
I mean, the last time, I believe Ms. Hartman did answer that question the last time. What has to happen is, I believe the municipal engineer has to certify the crosswalk first, and then do a design, and then submit it to the county engineer. Then the county engineer can take it under consideration at that point. That's where it is right now.
Okay, so it's with our,
It's
with
with our,
our, still with our.
with our township engineer in-house right now.
Okay,
Because there needs to be a reconfiguration of how this is gonna work, because parking on both sides of the crosswalk will not work. So we gotta figure out, we're gonna have parking on one side and eliminate the other side, and it's not an easy task, because what we're trying to do is not trying to reduce the amount of parking there, because, you know, at the softball games, people park up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, Councilman Peterson, you should know best, because
I
you're
park
involved in
there.
it. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to maintain as much of the parking, and maybe from the crosswalk, have 200 feet on both sides, in both directions, so that people have clear vision as they're driving their car. What we're trying not to do is eliminate parking on one side. I think that would be detrimental to the softball parents. So that's the issue he's playing with right now.
okay. Yeah, maybe we could follow up on the next meeting
Sure.
on that.
Not a problem.
Because I can tell you that I was just down there, and, you know, while you have the parking, parents are parking on the one side, you have the kids inevitably just running across from field to field. And, you know, you have young kids there, 7, 8 years old, who sometimes have no regard for the cars
And
that are
the other
passing.
issue is the distance of the crosswalk from the corner of Grove has to be a certain distance up, can't be that close to the corner, because then you basically have two crossing points in close proximity. And then you gotta make sure, once they get across on the other side, county engineer, I'm sure, is gonna want to make sure that there's a safe walk pathway on the opposite side, so you may want sidewalks or sidewalks redone there. So there's a lot more to it than just popping a crosswalk in, so we're working on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Hartwick?
No, that's
Thank
all
you
I
again
have.
for coming down. We'll see you next meeting. Anybody else from the public wishing to be heard? Anybody from the public wishing to be heard? Just your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Lefty Grimes. I'm from East Hanover,
Your address, please.
84 Hanover Road.
Thank you.
Enjoy Cedar Grove's downtown area. unless you're in a wheelchair. Get your teeth pulled at some of the dentists here in Cedar Grove, unless you're in a wheelchair. You can get your taxes done here in Cedar Grove, unless you're in a wheelchair. Get flowers, all kinds of stuff, unless you're in a wheelchair. We go around to different cities. It's called the Ignorance is No Excuse Tour. We go all over New Jersey. I don't know if you've seen our videos. But whenever a town bans medicine of cancer patients and disabled war vets and children with epilepsy, we go out and we bring cancer patients and children with epilepsy and disabled war veterans to these council meetings to ask them why they're victimizing these people. These people need our help. They need compassion and love. And what they're getting from these towns is disrespect and being shut out. We went to Union City recently, and we do a wheelchair video before we go to these cities to show that we are proving that they have no compassion, because you have no access here in Cedar Grove. There was no access in Union City. We go to Union City, made a horrible Jersey City jump video where we jump off the second step of a public library that has no access onto the sidewalk. Horrible that people have to go through this. I went to the mayor, Mayor Stack, and I started yelling at the mayor. I said, Mayor, you have no compassion for the sick and the dying. You have no access in this town. People in wheelchairs have nowhere to go. You have people with cancer that can't do anything. And he stopped me. He says, Mr. Grimes, both of my parents were in wheelchairs. Mr. Grimes, both of my parents had cancer. They died from cancer. He says, we're going to take this bill back. We banned recreational cannabis. We're going to take this bill back, and we're going to fix it to include medical cannabis, because we didn't realize that we were hurting people. That's a Christian man right there. That's a compassionate man. I don't see that around New Jersey a lot. What we do is we do wheelchair access videos, because I would ask you guys to go and spend a day in a wheelchair in your town and see what it's like to spend a day in a wheelchair. I dare you. I double dog dare you to get in a wheelchair and spend a day in your town and see what you're locked out of. 50 businesses you went to today. 50. And most of them had no access. And they're very sorry. Of course they're sorry. Oh, we've never seen this before. Well, of course you've never seen this before. You expect somebody in a wheelchair to crawl up your steps and beg to get in? No, they're going to keep rolling by. What bothers me is that we have disabled war vets, and these council people wave their American flags when it's convenient for them. They wave their little flags when they want to get votes, but when it comes down to help the troops that are sick and that need help, they're no better than a commie pinko. Yeah, I said commie pinko. It's disgusting what I've seen. How do you not support the troops? How do you ban medicine for disabled war vets? I mean, really? I mean, why don't you guys go over to Afghanistan, get your legs blown off, and come back here, go around your town in a wheelchair, and then take your medicine away? How does it feel to take your medicine away? You wouldn't like it too much. And these disabled war veterans deserve our love and compassion. Children with epilepsy. I've seen children with helmets on. And when you see a child with a helmet on, I can tell you right away what the problem is. If they have drop seizures, if they fall, they're going to die. I know kids that have died from drop seizures. It's very upsetting to me, because we have a sick person with cancer here that had to come out. He drove an hour to come here to tell you guys you did the wrong thing, that you're hurting people. And you need to have compassion as Christians. If you are Christians up there, I'm sure there's a few up there, and maybe I can reach your heart. You need to help people. It says in the Bible, what you do to the least of us, you do to God. You need to help these people. I can care less about legalization of recreational cannabis. That's hurting patients. All this stress is hurting patients. All these people that have to come out and beg for their lives at these council meetings, he should be home resting. He should be home in bed. He doesn't need to be out here. It's disgusting. And he's just one person. Jeff is just one person. We've had people with colostomy bags, people with cancer, people in wheelchairs. They couldn't be out here tonight. They're sick. They're homesick and dying. And the people that need to be here are homesick and dying. You're not going to hear from them. They're shut-ins. But you need to help them. They are here in your town. I mean, how far do you want these people to go for their medicine? They don't drive. They have to get rides. They have to have their family do it for them. Jeff's wife has to drive an hour and a half to get his medicine, because he can't drive half the time. His wife has to go drive for him. So at our podcast, every week we do a podcast at the State House. And at the end of our podcast, we do an ode of remembrance, because 1 out of 10 patients die every year. 1 out of 10. It starts with Cheryl Miller. she inspired me to do this back in the 80s and 90s because she fought from a hospital bed. Her husband used to push her around in a bed. And she couldn't move her arms and her legs. She just moved her head and her mouth and her nose. And her husband brought her down to Washington to Senator Andrews. And Senator Andrews' vote was no. And when he met Cheryl Miller, he changed his vote because of what he saw, how medical cannabis helped this woman. And how when she moved her arms, when she took her tincture, she was able to move her arms when she couldn't do before. And when you see someone suffering, you can do anything you can to help them. If you've seen someone with cancer, you'd have to do anything you can for them. And I'd beg you to help these people that have cancer and have these horrible diseases. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Thank you, Mr. Grimes. Anybody else from the public wishing to be heard?
I'd like to speak.
Okay. Just your name and address, please.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mayor and Council. My name is Jeffrey Oakes. I'm from 60 Pemberton Avenue, Oceanport. Mr. Grimes is correct there. I did drive a long way to get here, and I am very ill. I have stage 4 colon cancer. I'd like to understand, well, before I get started, I want to get my facts straight, because I go to a lot of council meetings to advocate for medical cannabis. So has this ban been passed on, or is it still, has it been voted on and passed?
With regard to,
The ban on recreation or medical cannabis?
Correct.
Is it in the works?
we passed an ordinance
And it
banning it,
includes
correct.
medical.
Yeah, we include, I don't, Mr. Zelinski, was it
I don't believe
included?
it's been passed.
What's that?
I don't believe it's been passed.
Was it
Do we-
passed in the meeting that I missed? Because I wasn't on the agenda.
Excuse me, I can't,
We
Yeah, I'm just
we
trying,
all agreed,
right,
four of us agreed.
right, we did
that
pass.
we would put, well, the ordinance wasn't presented
There's
yet.
no.
Okay, so it hasn't,
Yeah,
it's pending.
The ordinance is being created.
Okay. So it hasn't been passed yet?
has it been discussed?
And I don't
in-
remember if,
Understand it, because it's recreation.
right, exactly. So we're just discussing, because I don't have it in front of me. I didn't know you guys were coming down this evening, Mr. Oakes. It doesn't include, from my recollection,
It doesn't.
medicinal marijuana. It was recreational marijuana.
I hope that's the case, and I commend the council if that's the direction that they're heading, like Mr. Grimes said. We can have a conversation about recreational cannabis on another day. I mean, it's not even legalized yet at the state. Our medication is legalized, and if the council here is going to have a ban on recreational cannabis, which obviously you guys have the authority and the right to make legislation in your own town. Like I said, I commend you on, if you leave medical out of it, I hope that you understand the importance of it as a medication. And if you haven't done so far, I would certainly urge you to do that. And we have advocacy group, with our group that I'm affiliated with in different groups. And we've had other council people in other towns actually go on tours of the medical dispensaries. Because folks there's only 18,000 of us in the state. And, I'm sure, well, I'll give you an example. I get upset, I don't want to berate people, it's not my style, I don't like to do it, but I do it. But I would like to understand why some people would vote against medical cannabis and what their understanding of it as a medicine is, and what things really look like. And this is, I don't know, has anyone even met a medical patient before? No?
For,
Someone who is a card holder that operates under the Cuba laws. Has anyone on council ever seen it, what it looks like?
I have.
You have?
I have.
Would anybody like to see it?
sure, you can bring it forward, sure.
There's only 18,000 of us, and we have a very small voice.
Right.
And that's why you only see a few of us at the council meetings.
Right over and past that.
But I can attest, I've had cancer for 3 years now. And like we said, we talked about post-traumatic stress disorder, and I won't hold you up too long, because obviously I hope you guys are on the right direction. But going forward, if you discuss medical, please consider the seriousness of it. For me, it's keeping me alive. And through almost 3 years of cancer, I've not taken any, thank you very much. I've not taken any opioids, and that's a huge thing here. I know in my town, we've had 3 deaths related to heroin, and that's in Oceanport. It's a small town. It's probably smaller than your town here, I guess. And it's a serious issue. It's a serious issue in Oceanport. It's probably a serious issue here. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure. I know you have opioid abuse in your town. Overprescribed opioids. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. I hope you have. Certainly, studied it a little bit. But as it relates to medical cannabis, and please read the data for yourself. Go look it up. Find it. It's out there. The opioid use, prescription-wise, in states that have medical cannabis programs are down across the board. That's data that's out there. You can go see it. You can get it from governmental agencies. Probably the CDC, I guess, would probably have something like that. But it's out there, and for all of us, and this doesn't have to be this way, us, them thing. We should work together on this problem that we all have. And it's not something that you have or don't have and those people have, because it's not us and them. It's our brothers, it's our sisters, it's our moms, our dads, our uncles. Somebody goes and gets a twisted ankle and they come home with a bottle of pills for pain, and then their lives are changed. That's how a lot of it starts. And I've seen it. I've had them offer it to me. I've dealing with going on 3 years of cancer. And I can't tell you the importance of being able to be opioid free. I have a half a colon. I mean, I can't do opioids. It's just not an option. So the stuff is virtually keeping me alive, keeping me functioning, not dysfunctioning. That's really the essence of that plan. It actually regulates your body and it helps you to function. I'm on 29 treatments of chemo. I just finished up 3 treatments of radiation. I smoke a lot of cannabis. I can speak very fluently, as you can see. So as far as it, having an effect on short-term memory, well, maybe it does a little bit initially when you first smoke it. Everyone kind of has a different sense on what it is. But for someone who has post-traumatic stress disorder, that's exactly what you want. You want to feel better. You want your body to be able to forget the horrors and the pain of what one has witnessed from battle. That's why it works so well. And as far as short-term memory goes, as it relates to post-traumatic stress disorder, it's a natural thing for your body to heal from a traumatic experience. Your body will actually work for you to put those memories behind you. When someone who has post-traumatic stress disorder uses cannabinoids, it regulates their system. It helps them to achieve that goal of to moving on from the past and moving forward. That's what cannabis enables you to do. It opens your mind. It enables you to think better. It enables you to be healthier. It enables you to maintain your weight. It maintains your heart rate. There's so many medical things that are involved in that plant. Recreation does it an injustice. And I won't take any more time, but I appreciate folks listening. And please, stop me if you have any questions. I can...
Mr. Oaks, there are 5 medical marijuana dispensaries in the state of New Jersey, correct?
I think they're working on opening 6. The 6th one is...
So there's going to be 6.
Right.
And they're all, currently there's 5 operational, okay?
Correct.
And that's because the state of New Jersey licensed those 5 dispensaries, correct? And they're going to license a 6th?
Yes.
Okay. So while I understand what you're here saying, my question is, why come to Cedar Grove to tell us to open up medical marijuana dispensaries when it's not even possible that we do that?
Very good question. I mean, I don't know your town that well. Well, number one, to say that you couldn't open a medical dispensary, that needs to be framed exactly what your description of a medical dispensary is, because most people that aren't familiar with the medical program, they think of a facility that's big and huge, a greenhouse facility from seed to sale. And that's not what the Board of Health has recommended to the State Assembly. They have recommended that there be actually 12 grow facilities, licensed facilities that only grow. They do not do retail. So it'll be kind of like a beer distributor, where they would grow in a facility, obviously not here. I don't think you have the facilities to do it. Probably some places industrial, maybe Trenton or something, where they have big indoor facilities that you can access. So those 12 grow facilities would supply, I think, 40 potentially? 40 licensed retail establishments, which would be no bigger than, a pizza parlor or something. I mean, they're not that big. So, but that's something that, and thank you for asking, because that's what a lot of people consider. They're like, oh my God, we're going to have this big thing, there's going to be plants all over the place, and it's going to stink and everything else. And that's not the goal of the medical program. The medical program, or at least the new administration with Governor Murphy, is they want to streamline it. They want to take away the roadblocks so that we can access our medication. It's very difficult to get appointments. The doctors go through hell because they're stigmatized because they're handing out marijuana. My doctor actually got thrown out of his office up in the Meadowlands because his landlord found out that he was dispensing, licensed by the state, dispensing marijuana. There's the fees involved. You have to go 4 times a year to the doctor every 90 days. You have to go for a doctor visit. My visit's $100. I'm sure somebody else is probably paying $300. I don't know if people aren't aware. That's one of the problems with it. It's so expensive. It's not covered by health insurance. I can tell you, I've been in the program for almost 4 years now, and I'm out of pocket probably 30 grand. That's what I'm fighting for my life. That's what it's cost me and my family.
I guess what my point was,
Go ahead. As far as
more succinctly, is that, and I heard you say that you do podcasts and things at the State House, but
Lefty.
this is something that you should be in Trenton talking about, not in Cedar Grove.
Okay, to get back to that, see, and with the 40 dispensaries, say, they got to go somewhere, and but the deal is, if all towns hop on board of this agenda, which you guys really haven't, so medically, that's fine, but it inhibits us. It keeps it away. It doesn't make it convenient for us. We would like to see our medicine, as convenient as the pharmacy down the street. I can't fathom why anyone would want it any other way, because most people I talk to, in fact, basically everyone says, hey, I don't like recreation, but I support medical cannabis. It's like, well, if you support it, invite it into your town, make a resolution to support it, support research of the plant, support the science behind it, support the industry that it's going to bring. Really, you guys are going to miss the boat. Well, you guys aren't. If you jump on the medical side of it, you still have a chance. In Oceanport, we're dealing with Fort Monmouth, if you're familiar with that debacle, trying to close the Federal Army base down. Well, it's been closed, obviously, but try to reestablish it into 4 different communities. It's difficult, and I suggested, hey, partner with the state. Bring in one of these 12 facilities that grow, and you won't have any security problems. You'll have armed guards at the facility 24/7. It'll create a presence of security in the town. It doesn't bring in. Nobody's going to be buying anything. So if you're worried about somebody coming into town smoking up and whatever, that's just not going to happen. There will be no, but there will be tax benefits from it. I can guarantee it. And I know, you guys struggle with budget. I heard you talk about budget. Oceanport struggles. All these towns are all the same. The roads coming in, you guys have a lot of traffic here. There's probably a county road here. It's probably out of your domain, but even the local roads, I know you guys struggle repairing potholes from the winter and everything. This is going to could be a potential revenue stream. But I thank you for definitely not including medical cannabis in your ban, and I hope that continues to be the.
Thank you, Mr. Oakes.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public wishing to be heard? Anybody? Just your name and address, ma'am, for the record, please.
My name is Amy Roth. My address is 71 Green Hill Road in Springfield. I am a medical marijuana patient. I worked in one of the 5 dispensaries that are open right now for a little under 2 years. I've researched the plant to the point of probably a doctorate by reading all of the studies and all of the information that has ever been written on this plant. You want to know why we're here? This is medicine, major league medicine for so many illnesses. This should be available to every single person if they get a recommendation, which you know means a prescription, but in cannabis terms, it's called a recommendation. And they should be able to walk to a dispensary like they can walk to a pharmacy at any given time in any given town that they choose. That'll happen eventually. We're going there. There is no question about it. So you guys can all sit here with your very serious faces on, thinking, what are these people doing here? Get the hell out of here. We're not. We're going to every single town, and we spend every single week in Trenton talking about this. We are all over the internet. We are all over the news. We're all over New York, New Jersey, East Coast. This is here to stay. And we want our medicine. We want it, we need it. We know the problem with the psychoactive part. Well, there are strains that do not get you high. No psychoactive part. Because they're high in CBD. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. The CBD actually squashes the psychoactive part. So it makes it even better. Because it's an anti-inflammatory muscle relaxer that works continuously on your body. So all of your systems are flowing naturally and organically. We're here to ask you to be open-minded to medical dispensary. It's not like the ones that exist now. They're changing the style. There are 6 different licenses that you get. We want you to get the one that will allow us to buy, just like in the pharmacy. Walk in, it's a little storefront, it's no big, it's not like, and then there are ways, and I don't even recall exactly how it's going to work. It hasn't actually been solidified in Trenton, how it's going to work, who's supplying whom. But these licenses are going to be available. We're asking you to be open-minded to have a dispensary, a 4x6 space that gets supplied, that is run professionally. The thing is, if you allow it, then you can help write the policy and make the laws. You can do it. You can have it how you want. But if you don't, it's probably coming here anyway, and then you don't really have the opportunity to do it as you really would. So, any questions? Did that answer why we're here and why we want dispensaries?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roth. Anybody else from the public who should be heard? Just your name and address, please.
Michelle Burns, Bayonne, New Jersey.
Your street address, please.
13 East 17th Street, Bayonne.
Thank you.
I'm here to say, I see you all rolling your eyes, scratching your heads. Don't give a crap what we're saying. We're medical patients, just like anybody would take medical patients that are taking Ativan or any other kind of drugs, painkillers. We take painkillers. This is our painkillers. I mean,
Ms. Barrows, can I just interrupt you for 1 second? And I just need to say this because, I mean, and I appreciate you coming down here. I haven't rolled my eyes once. Excuse me, Ms. Barrows, excuse me, you spoke, I just wanted to say something.
Yes.
I haven't rolled my eyes once. I'm giving you, Ms. Roth, Mr. Oakes, Mr. Grimes, my full attention. My serious face, I'm listening. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm being respectful. okay? And I haven't in my mind said, get the heck out of here like you're thinking I'm saying. I mean, you're making assumptions, excuse me, I'm talking now. Excuse me. I haven't made any assumptions. You're making assumptions of myself, which I find offensive.
I see
Excuse
the
me,
rest of
you'll have a chance to speak.
Okay.
What I find offensive and disrespectful. Mr. Oaks, I'm sorry for your condition, and what you said, I understand what you said, and I appreciate the way you came up here respectfully presented the information that you gave to us. Mr. Grimes, you came up here and you're singing, and I don't know if however you do your presentation, you have every right to. And I think you could see from our council, and I take great pride in this council, anybody can come up here and have a chance to speak. And that's what we want to do as a council. We want to listen to everybody. And I don't know if you know this, or it's something you find funny. I found what you said, again, disrespectful and offensive. But you have every right to come up here. I didn't stop you. Yeah, I could have stopped you. I wanted you to speak. I didn't really understand why you're here until I saw what Mr. Oaks talked about, and I appreciate what he said. I really do. I just wanted to say that because you're kind of echoing what Ms. Roth and Mr. Grimes is saying about how we're not being respectful, we're not taking it serious. I am, and I'm not trying to give any other indication of that. I'm listening here. I'm being serious and respectful. So with that, I ask you to continue.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I have been on the medical marijuana patient program since it started. I have multiple sclerosis, and my kids will testify. My kids were honor roll students, one to college, one to sophomore in high school, and honor rolls. I mean, they know what I do. They know everything I've done. They know since the very beginning, and I need this medicine. And it is medicine. It's not a joke. It's medicine. It's not something that we just take to get high, because I take only CBD strains. I don't take anything to get me high. I take CBD strains, so therefore I don't get high. And I don't want... there is patients in your town, and you know there's patients in your town. There's patients all over the place. So as long as there's patients here, they need to find their medicine somewhere. So I would think that you would open up, just like you do Walgreens. I want to one day get my prescription at Walgreens, not have to go to the dispensary. I want to get it at Walgreens, not at dispensaries. So make it available to patients, because patients are the ones who count. We're dying. We're dying. We need medicine. We need to have this medicine available to us. Right now, it's not available to me in my county. I'm hoping one day it will be. And hopefully one day it will be, because I'm sick of going all over the place, 2 hours drive, 3 hour drive, just to get medicine. You wouldn't like to get your medicine 3 hours away. And nobody wants to get their medicine 3 hours away. It's not a joke. It's something we need. So please, consider it as a medicine, not as something that gets us high. I don't get high. I medicate myself. My kids are testimony to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barros. Anybody else from the public shouldn't be heard? All right, seeing none, I close that portion of the meeting. Okay, put on here. Okay. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Publics Meeting Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting of the mayor and council in certain circumstances, and whereas the mayor and council of the Township of Cedar Grove are of the opinion that such circumstances exist, now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Township of Cedar Grove, County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the public shall be excluded from the discussion of any action on the executive session of the meeting of the Mayor and Council of May 7, 2018. The general nature of the subject matters to be discussed are non-representative employee salaries. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter will be made public as soon thereafter as it is deemed in the public interest to do so. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Converas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Vargo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Yep.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you.